Today is a long message. But what I want to say is the last word. I can't sleep at night. On March 14th, after a 2-week health observation period after disembarking from a cruise ship, I returned to the Ministry of Health, Labor and Welfare from noon and worked again at the new coronavirus infection control headquarters. In the cruise liner, the number of infected people who increase every day, the correspondence, and the place in the severe site were put in the severe site, and Mr. Takeshi Hashimoto and Mr. Hashimoto repeatedly had a violent discussion with each other, and each of them clenched the teeth and responded. Even after the decline in the number of new fever workers and signs of gradual improvement in the situation, from dispersed disembarking to group disembarkments, we were working in prayer so that everyone could disembark safely. Tremendous sense at that time. It remembers, in the skin, in the body. I think all the staff on the cruise ship felt the same way. On Sunday, March 14th, when I and Mr. Takeshi returned to the Ministry of Health, Labor and Welfare, I instantly realized that what I had experienced on a cruise ship was probably the epitome of what I experienced in a pandemic in Japan. And we've been thinking about things on the assumption that X day will come without permission. It was just a short time later in Italy, when the infection swelled rapidly in New York, and medical institutions were quick to report that their capacity had exceeded their capacity. From the sense that the body knew on the cruise ship, the current state of the foreign country was easily felt, really including even feelings. I think the most important thing in crisis management is to assume the worst. What can you do when you get the worst? And what should you do before that? Who will do it? What are the obstacles to that? How long does it take to get there? For example, how many ventilators are running in medical institutions? Where are the masks? Where are they missing? Or are outpatient functioning? How many patients are hospitalized? Where are the medical staff who can work? First of all, it is not possible to consolidate the information of the prefecture more to the country, and to visualize it. In Japan, various authority and functions of prefectural governors, including the regional medical care plan, are consolidated. In addition, it is each medical institution that actually conducts medical care and office work, and it is a site. We prepared in 1 week, and on March 24th, we held a meeting with medical organizations and the National Governors Association on March 25th to share the sense of crisis we felt. Information that is normally aggregated in prefectures is aggregated in the country based on understanding, and it is now possible to provide feedback to the prefecture at the same time. The mechanism for collecting this medical information is already in operation, and medical personnel from all over the country are working hard to help. We have received a considerable amount of cooperation, and as we have informed you externally in advance, what we have organized as public information, such as whether there are restrictions on outpatient or hospitalization as a medical institution, will be visible to the general public. This leads to the visualization of the function of medical care that responds to the scenario of the so-called epidemic period. The first signal of a medical crisis in particular is the suspension and restrictions on emergency outpatient care, which is already happening in some areas. I think that there are a lot of people who notice it. This may be due to the fact that more people infected are not accepted anew. When one infected person is accepted by ICU, it was shared by the doctors of the Intensive Care Society and the municipality that accepted it in the council that it was not possible to establish the system of infection management if 4 to 8 ICU patients were not refused. In addition, medical staff were affected by daycare and school holidays, and there were some places where shifts could not be set up, and restrictions were imposed. It is important information to view these aspects. Again, this is information that can be gathered in the state. Second, there is a hurry to respond to hospital infections, because there is a pattern that medical personnel are infected and brought in outside, and there is a pattern that the patient who is hospitalized in the hospital is infected. For example, the hospital accident, etc., is infected, and it is necessary to receive the PCR examination, especially to the person of the atypical pneumonia in the hospital. Insurance adaptation began in early March, But in order to submit PCR inspections to private inspection companies in medical institutions nationwide, the prefecture must establish that it is a medical institution in accordance with the form coming from the returnees, and have a contract. If there is a patient in the hospital where I work, and it is said that there is no indication of the PCR test by consulting with the public health center, and if it is not certified by the prefecture as a medical institution equivalent to the coming home person contact coming from outside, and the medical institution which cannot perform the PCR examination in the hospital was imagined that it was not possible to make an appropriate diagnosis. However, we have now informed the prefecture to certify that if the hospital offers an offer from the hospital, it is a medical institution that is equivalent to the outpatient of the returnee, and that insurance claims can be made even if the contract has not been completed from the beginning. Such notifications and office communications have been issued to each medical organization by the Ministry of Health, Labor and Welfare. But in short, we are able to respond to hospital infections as quickly as possible. I would like the teachers of the hospital to know this. We want to eliminate the obstacles of proper diagnosis in the field. This new coronavirus causes particularly robust contact infections. The button of the alarm release of the monitor in the hospital, the terminal of the electronic medical record, and the refrigerator and the microwave oven of the rest place in the hospital. You need to be very careful. Now, since this new type of coronavirus infection occurred in our country, the health center will undertake many times the work of daily work during this time, and still bear a great burden. From the consultation work of returnees, the recovery of PCR samples, the active epidemiological survey originally the number one of the public health center, the grasp of the person who underwent the PCR test, the health follow-up of the people who passed through the quarantine, and other daily tasks. Consultation on health checkups and food hygiene. I did training at a public health center when I was a trainee doctor, and I can understand the manpower of the public health center from the actual experience, but I think this is honestly tough. However, in this national difficulty, the local government which is working to help the business of the public health center by everyone including the General Affairs Department which is a serious business burden in the prefecture, the public health center establishment city, and the special district is actually very few. What is the business? How can I support you? Do you need people? Do I need to organize my business? Do we need to work together between departments? Do I need to organize the work of other departments or postpone the deadline sought to support the system? There are a lot of items to think about. There are many municipalities that are separated from the department signed for health and the department that is responsible for hospitals. Have you ever imagined that the Department of Health, which is the first department to catch information on infection, would be so hard that it would not be able to produce so much so that it could not be issued? If someone is in trouble, will you help me? Moreover, the work of the staff of the public health center is gathering the information that we need most when we are on the verge of the most at stake, and we are about to make the difference. First, step by step, cooperation with basic municipalities. It is a fight against the virus. We all have to work together. There is no time to swing the front of the building vertically. Once again, in each municipality, the content sofas of the public health center, the significance, and the system to support it. Whether you have taken the system to support it, please make a point confirmation. Please feel kind.